Welcome to the I-80 Club before the witching hour, NFL Week 6. Josh and Matt with you on this Sunday morning ahead of another day of football. Though, Matt, for the third consecutive week, there's a football game going on right now. The Broncos are up 10-6 on the Jets. You got any takes on this game so far?
I don't watch European games.
Don't watch European games. Interesting. Even if the Bears played?
I did last year. It was terrible. I had to produce it. I had to get into the studio at like 6:15 in the morning to do all so we can get the pregame going, stuff like that. It was one of the worst. Working for a company that broadcasted a team that you love and you had to be a part of the pregame show and the postgame show and the halftime stuff, don't recommend it at all. Remotely.
0 out of 10, do not recommend.
It just takes away from everything that you enjoy about the team, because then it becomes like a job, you know? And
for sure.
The Bears are marching down the field, but you can't watch any of it because you're in the back studio getting the highlights. They're just rolling in, right? This would happen where like the Bears would be terrible for like 8 drives in a row. And then all of a sudden they would get on a roll, and you would just be, all of them had to be highlights because we didn't have highlights from all the calamity that happened before. So it would just be rolling in, and you would just be sitting there and you'd wait for a new file, and then you edit it, and then you would like send it back. And I couldn't watch the game. And it was
sounds terrible.
It was the worst. So screw London, screw that memory, screw that game.
Right.
I don't like overseas games. I never have and never will. I liked it when it was a one-off, when it was like once or twice a year they did it.
Now it's every week. It's every
week.
you know. And here's the thing, Matt, like, so Dallas, I think the last time they played in one of these games, I think, is 11 years ago. They played there in 2014 against Jacksonville. That was the Des Cauditt team. But that was back when they were in the afternoon still. So I've never had to wake up and watch the Cowboys play an 8:30 game, which just seems like the weird. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good time.
It's not at all. It's not at all. And it's like, for the people who are like, oh, you're anti-European. Let me tell you something right now. Go and ask those people who, if they would love to like have soccer games that really, really mattered, go ahead and be played in America. Like, go ahead and ask them that. If they would.
I'm guessing they wouldn't like it.
They wouldn't like it at all. If, like, you know, some of these games matter. Some of these games, like, these teams aren't going to play. They're only going to play good teams for the rest of the way. So they have to beat this bad team, because they only get the bad games in Europe. But they have to beat the bad team if they're going to have a shot, like, toward the end of the year, which is what the Bears went through playing Jacksonville. We were like, we have to win this game if they're going to go ahead and have a shot, because the schedule gets harder down the year. And it's like 8:30 in the morning, and nobody's talking about your team, and nobody's paying attention, and it's like hard to like get up. And then I don't know, man. I just can't. I'm not a. We don't have to.
By the way, Jordan points out.
Go ahead.
La Liga is playing a regular season match in Miami in December. Ask the Spanish.
Yeah, I bet they don't like it. I bet they don't. I don't like it. I bet they hate it. We don't like it too. Football's an American sport. I'm sorry.
Down with the world, says Matt McMaster, not a globalist. All right,
I'm not. And by the way, I'm okay with 1 or 2 games being played there. I'm just not a fan of every week.
Hey, get ready. When they expand to 18 games for everybody will play in London. There will be a game every single week, starting in like week 2 or 3 for the whole season. So I just want you and everybody else to get ready.
Another thing too, if they do this whole because I'm really passionate about this.
There's a lot of fun comments coming in too.
If they do this whole, like, we're having a European division in the NFL, they're gonna have 4 teams in Europe, and they're fuck that. I ain't doing.
You're out. You're done. You're done with that shit.
I'm not gonna pay attention. I'm not waking up that early to watch NFL football. I'm not. I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm sorry.
Don't put it on the internet that Matt is going to wake up and watch it.
Do you know how many bad offensive linemen there are in the NFL? You're telling me that we can add 4 more teams to the league? I mean, those teams, there's only all these quarterbacks. There's so many quarterbacks that suck too. We're going to add 4 more quarterback jobs to the market.
Don't worry. That's not okay. Yeah, they're not going to expand. They're not going to add. The league's not going to be 36 teams. Settle down, Matt. Welcome in. This is Before the Witching Hour. We do this each and every Sunday at 9:30. And we take a look at 5 games that are interesting to us. Though, Matt, we hung out a little bit yesterday. We watched the first half of Nebraska's win over Maryland. And as we were leaving, we said, since the Cowboys are playing the Panthers and sometimes our teams are playing in games that, let's be honest, few people care about, should we add an extra game for the discussion? So I guess now we're going to do 6 games a week unless our teams are playing in important games, right?
Which could happen.
Hey, man, all it takes is a Cowboys win today. They're 3-2-1, and suddenly I'm like, all right, is it possible for them to win the NFC East this year? Because that division is the NFC, as John Bishop calls it, NFC least again. That has certainly arrived. It's not looking very good.
Do we want to start off? You want to start off with that game?
Sure. What are the games that we will be going over today for the
today?
For the
here's on our slate. We have Cardinals versus Colts, Detroit versus Kansas City, Panthers versus Cowboys, Bears versus Commanders, Falcons versus Bills, and 49ers versus Buccaneers.
All right, so those are the games that we will be taking a look at. Let us begin. I'm fine with that. We can start with the Cowboys.
Get it out of the way.
Perfect. Get it out of the way. Cowboys, as I just mentioned, looking to move to 3-2-1 on the young season. They put together a real nice performance last week versus the Jets. You said it in the moment. You said they are going to be fine. They will not lose. I was worried because they were down many offensive linemen. And in the end, Matt, that didn't matter. They were just fine. They ran the ball all over the stinky-ass Jets. And so now they go on the road. They play at Carolina every year, it seems like. It's like they're another NFC East team in the division. Rico Dowdle's coming off of what a career day for him, and he's calling this a revenge game. The Cowboys still are going to be limited in terms of some of their players, though. A couple of the linemen are back. What interests you today about Cowboys Panthers in the year of our Lord 2025?
This might be Bryce Young's last start.
It might be Bryce Young's last start.
This might be it. This might be it's not going to work. Got to have a new quarterback. Time to move on. Didn't work out. He's 28th in QBR. He's 25th in EPA per play. He started 5 games this season. He's thrown over 200 yards one time this season. He's just, I hate to be that guy, but he's just not big enough. Like
I was the same way coming out. I was like, come on, it's going to be fine. Nope,
he just can't see the field very well. And last season, he was really good in empty. When they ran empty, it was one of the most efficient kind of packages in the entire NFL. They've come out, they've tried to do it this year. Defenses have adjusted to it. It's not nearly as effective. And now, because they're down and the rest of the team is bad, when he has to throw the ball, they're in obvious passing situations. And I just don't think that in the modern NFL, with this kind of running renaissance that we've had over the last couple of years, you can be a team that goes into empty 45, 50%, 40% of your snaps, whatever it might be. I just don't think that is not only sustainable for Carolina, but sustainable for anybody else who would even think of taking a flyer on him. So I thought Bryce Young, his best attributes in Alabama was his accuracy and his vision and just how smart he was. And just in the NFL, his traits just have not transferred over. So I think this is it. I think you cruise to a victory. I think you go 3-2-1. And I think you start having some legitimate conversations of, okay, Daxon is MVP here. CeeDee Lamb is eventually going to come back. This offensive line, even though it's banged up, you guys have invested in it, and it's playing better than maybe expected.
Much better.
Do you go ahead and hemorrhage a little bit of the future to just add some corners or add some pieces to the defense? Maybe get 1 or 2 guys,
if you're wanting to be in the mix,
average.
Yeah, if you're wanting to be in the mix and you feel like you are, the trade deadline's in a few weeks. Obviously, this is a game you have to win. You can't lose to the Panthers and then say, please help us. Sure. We need more good players. You gotta have a little proof of concept, right? The thing that is a couple things for you, Matt, with this one. I don't have the number, sadly, in front of me right now, but the target rate for the Panthers on offense with the wide receivers, including Ted McMillan, has been really, really bad because Bryce Young has been unable to get the ball to those guys. That said, Ted McMillan is having a pretty good season when he does get the ball. The rookie, he has seen 8 or more targets in every single game this year, and so he is someone that I'll be paying attention to, given Dallas's pass defense has been a tire fire. But how about this? The Cowboys, this will be their 6th game, 4th on the road. And so this is the year where the NFC has the 9 home games versus the 8 road games. So it's man, you get by this, you're 3-2-1, and you look at the rest of the season, you still have 7 home games to come. 7 home games versus just 4 on the road. And so I'm really liking that. They're going to have a Monday night stretch where they play 2 Monday night games in 3 weeks coming up at the beginning of November. So, yeah, I'd really like a win here today because the schedule is going to get a little tougher next week, Commanders and then Broncos, and then it's going to get really tough right before Thanksgiving with Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings, Chargers over the course of 4 weeks. So, again, if they're going to make things interesting at all, they have to get a victory today, and I think they will.
Okay, let's have a real convo here real quick before we move on.
Uh-oh.
The NFC is pretty wide open, is it not?
Outside of a team we'll talk about that's playing on Sunday night, the Lions, yes. It seems like a very wide open conference. I think the Lions are unequivocally the best team in the NFC, but they also played like doo-doo against the Packers in week 1.
You're obviously not going to trade a first-round pick or any of that type of stuff. But would you be banging on the table if they enter the trade deadline at like hypothetically 5-3-1, 4 like if they
were 5-3-1, absolutely I would.
You'd
if they were that spot.
Give up a third-round pick. Give up a fifth.
Absolutely.
Pick. Go ahead. Yeah, get 2 corners or get
depending
something.
on the player. Give up a second-rounder. Like honestly,
okay.
You said it a couple minutes ago with how well Dak is playing, and that CD is going to eventually come back, and that their run game is suddenly good, and that their offensive line, like the offense, is going to be good enough to keep you in games. Like, I mean, Matt, how many times over the last few years have we said if Nebraska just had average special teams? Like, that's what I would look at from the defense. Like, could you get the defense to average level with the way the offense is playing?
I can't put it any other way, but this offense just fucks.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I know. Dak is playing out of his mind right now.
I enjoy watching Cowboys football. Hot take board. Like,
wow, what a compliment.
I genuinely enjoy watching your games. So, look, I don't think that they're going to make the NFC title game, even if they make some trades. And I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl or anything like that. But I think it comes down to, this is an interesting conversation when it comes to, like, general managers and ownerships and everything like that. Like, I feel like you have to make the moves to show that you care. You know? Like, even if you're not going to win the title, you just have to do it to tell your fan base, hey, like, we know that you like the product and we want to invest more in the product and we want the product to be better. So we are going to give up. And maybe you do trade a second-round pick and the guy you get ends up turning the corner and is incredible and, like, you go on a magical run. Who's to say?
Sure.
But this team has put themselves with their offense in a situation where they can win football games, and that's good for them.
Exactly. Yep. So don't waste that performance this year. So that is the noon game. Of course, that'll be on the main TV for your boy. All right. Just looking, Matt, at the rest of the noon window. Let's go to Seahawks Jaguars next. This is quite the interesting game. Of course, we are coming off of a Monday night performance by Jacksonville that was had a lot of strange plays, but they ultimately get the victory. And now their strength, of course, being the run game, they're going up against a team that is very good against the run. As Seattle, there was a lot of conversation yesterday, Matt, on the pregame show with Jack about flying cross country and how important or not important that is. I am in the it's important camp. Jack is in the it's not, and then UCLA went out and whooped up on Michigan State. So I guess congrats to Jack on that one. But it'll be interesting because Seattle has to fly cross country, play a 9 a.m. Or 10 a.m. rather body clock game on the West Coast. And like I picked the Jags to win the division. I thought it would be more in like the 8-9, 9-8 type record. But they get a win today and they're 5-1, and suddenly you're like, okay, I mean, it's going to be them versus the Colts. They would have a chance to really put up a nice record, assuming because I just think that they're starting to play like actual good football right now. And this would be another one where you say you're playing actual good football. I don't think they're going to win. I like Seattle this afternoon. Okay. But this would be quite the statement for Jacksonville if they were able to pull it off in year one under Cohen.
Yeah, if Baker Mayfield had Sam Darnold's numbers and advanced statistics and everything, we'd be saying, all right, the MVP race is over. Like that's like how, and I feel the same way about Daniel Jones. We'll talk about later. Like those Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold statistically are the two best quarterbacks in the league right now. Which is like if you said that 2 years ago, you'd be like, what?
No, you said it 2 months ago.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. So Jacksonville entered that Kansas City game 4-1. and they did it off the back of the run game. And they kind of were winning, I don't want to say in spite of Trevor, but it wasn't necessarily like, oh my God, Trevor Lawrence has turned the corner.
Could not agree more.
Last week against Kansas City, he looked great.
He made some plays.
He legitimately looked great. And the whole Liam Cohen, not resurrecting, but like making quarterbacks play better kind of came to fruition in that game, in my opinion. And so, I don't know. I'm hesitant with the Jaguars because they did this 2 years ago or 3 years ago when they were like, 7-2 or whatever, and they were top of the division, and they absolutely fell apart, right? And it was it was Trevor and it was some of the same guys. Like, I am more encouraged by this if they're able to beat Seattle because they've been able to do it in two dimensions, in the run game and in the pass game. Seattle's defense is awesome. Seattle's defense has been awesome. We'll see how they play. Like, this is kind of like the winner of this game, and depending on how they look, to me becomes second or third place in either of their conferences. If Jacksonville goes 5-1, beats Seattle, wins a really, really good game at home, like, you can convince me they might be the second or third best team in the AFC. If Seattle, seriously, I mean, let's be real. But I mean, like, who? Because Kansas City's done. Bills are better than them.
Okay.
Chargers look terrible.
Chargers look pretty terrible.
Bad. The Raiders are awful. Like, the NFC East, I'm not gonna. I will take Jacksonville.
I'll push back a little bit on the Chiefs. Like, I don't think they look awful. I think their offense is starting to find itself. But
sure, but Jacksonville beat them, and so then it's like, who would you rather have? Jacksonville? No, I'll take Jacksonville over the Broncos. The Colts. I mean, who would you rather take? The Colts are like, that'd be a tough. But I mean, like, when it's a crazy thing to say, but
Patriots?
When you start to. No, I'd take Jacksonville over the Patriots. I'd take Jacksonville over the Steelers. I'd take Jacksonville over Baltimore or Cincinnati or Cleveland.
Wow.
You think about it, Josh. It's a crazy take when you first hear it, but then you actually start to think about it. You're like, man, it actually.
I can't say the Ravens anymore, right? Like, I want to say the Ravens. And so in the NFC, so they would not be for sure the second best because they lost to the Bucks last week.
Yeah.
So you'd go Lions and you'd go Bucks, and then not
Eagles,
Packers.
No, I mean, the Packers haven't looked like the Packers apparently have peaked in week 1, and then since then they've kind of.
What a world! I hope so. Yeah, I hope that they peaked in week 1. That'd be pretty funny.
Like, they've
Rams. What about the Rams? The Niners. They lost to the Niners.
So like the Niners and Rams. That's like, it'd be Seahawks. It'd be like them versus the Niners. The Rams are.
I know.
I don't know. I struggle.
They're weird. They're a weird team.
They're a weird team. But like, this is a game. This
Bears. What about your Bears?
No, not at all. And
not the Bears.
And I don't know with the Commanders. Like, the Commanders, if they can continue to have the run game, like the Seattle, but the Seattle's good. Seattle's really good.
Matt says, by the way, Jacksonville being good is shocking. If that's true, what you just proposed, if that's true, then the AFC is absolutely collapsed. If you're right,
I agree.
If you're right, wow, this is a year where everybody should be going all in to make trades. If what you just said is correct, everybody should be doing anything possible. Because if you're saying that the Seahawks a win today would maybe move them to third in the NFC, and a Jacksonville win would maybe move them to second or third in the AFC, if I'm a contender, I'm saying we have to take advantage because the window has never been more wide open. It's never been more wide open.
For sure with Jacksonville. I think you might make more of it. But with Seattle, if Seattle beats – Jacksonville's a good team. Jacksonville just beat Kansas City.
Correct.
Jacksonville has lost one game this year, and it was a weird Joe Burrow got hurt, Jake Browning experience. Like,
yes.
Outside of that, they very well –
That's wild that's their loss right now. It's to the How long was Browning in that game? Was it a half?
Like a half. He was in a half.
I was going to say, yeah. That's wild.
I mean, look, I picked Seattle to – win the division. Okay, so I was
a 49ers boy.
I want to preface this. Like, I've been very high on them. So, and they looked really good against the Buccaneers, who I think a lot of people could agree is probably the best team in the NFC right now. So, I don't know, man. Who would have thought that Seattle versus Jacksonville would be this, like,
I know,
incredibly interesting dynamic matchup in week 6 of the year?
A couple things before we move on to the next game. Right now, Jacksonville, their defense third in EPA per drop back allowed. So that will be interesting given who the quarterback is on the other side of the field. In Sam Darnold, who, as you mentioned, has really had a nice season. I mean, gosh, I know friend of the pod, Mike Schaefer, very upset about the decision to move on from him, and now feels that way even more so, given, again, the wide open nature of the NFC and how his quarterbacks have performed to this moment in time. I think he would very much like to have Sam Darnold back on his roster again, instead of a first-year starting quarterback who needs reps and is injured right now, and Carson Wentz. So that is what's going on with the Minnesota Vikings at this moment in time. Not great.
Matt in the comments goes, has Matt built an interrogation room in his apartment, all black with a single overhead pole?
I feel like every week you're in a new, fun, surprisingly echoey area at your
my
apartment
apartment's
complex.
a mess right now. Okay, it is an absolute disaster. Okay, things are everywhere. Dan and I have not done a good job of really doing anything other than cleaning the sink. So if I were to show you what is behind me, look
it would be bad.
Look at all this crap. Did you just hear what fell? Look,
yeah,
I don't know things and everything.
What is this? Notes? Is this prep? Is that
this is high school football stuff?
Screens of a madman? Is that the Zodiac letters?
Yeah, look at this stuff, and then look at the behind this stuff too. This is, I should throw this crap away.
You should, or recycle it even, Matt. That would be nice to help the planet.
Do you not agree? You were a little hesitant. Do you not agree with the winner of the Jacksonville-Seattle game could be the second or third best team?
I don't know.
I want to hear your unfiltered, candid thoughts on that take.
No, I mean, on its face, it sounds like a ridiculous statement. As we talked through the teams, I mean, golly, man, maybe you are right. My priors are doing a number on me with a couple of teams. They're doing a number on me with the Colts. But you know what? In 1999, the Rams got off to a great start, and I was very quickly on the Kurt Warner is good bandwagon. The Rams are good bandwagon, and that ended up being proven true. I still have not been able to do it with the Colts. Now, this because I hate Daniel Jones, and I think he sucks, and so I will admit my bias here is very strong on there's no way that this can be a real thing, but it's a good roster. It's a good roster. They have a good head coach. They have a good play caller. They have a good quarterback.
And Lou Amarillo is awesome. Lou Amarillo should win Coordinator of the Year.
And how about him? Because they were ready to move on from him in Cincinnati. Yeah, see you later, bro. And so, on one hand, it's like, wow. And then, look, I'm down on the Chiefs, but, I mean, come on. Am I really going to say that, Patrick Mahomes can't figure it out over the course of the year? I'm with you on the AFC North. The AFC North is such a bad division because I don't care that the Steelers are 3-1. Their point differential is two. It's -2 right now. Get the hell out. And then I still am Bills pilled. And I guess I have to maybe admit that Drake May is good too. So I'm taking L's left and right. Right now, Matt. And I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I don't know.
I think that you could definitely poke the hole in my Seattle argument. But at the same time, if Seattle were to win today, they lost by 3 to a really, really good Tampa Bay team that they could easily have beaten, and they would have beaten the Jacksonville team that just beat Kansas City, and that has looked pretty good, in the games that they've won. It's a weird – man, it is a weird year in the NFL. Let's just face it. It is a weird year in the NFL, and it might be an even weirder year in college football, and I fucking love it.
I know it's great because we get to cover it every day. It's so much fun, And again, to go back to our teams, I know we spend a few minutes talking about, hey, should the Cowboys do this? Dude, we're like a nice Bears performance tomorrow away from saying hello. Don't you're trying not to do that. We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get to that game. All right, so that's Seattle, that's Jacksonville, that's the final noon game we're talking about. Or we're not doing Ravens Rams, are we? I can't remember.
No,
I didn't even write them down. Okay, all right. So let's move on into the later window today. San Francisco at Tampa Bay. A couple of teams that come in with the same record. They are 4-1 in this matchup. We know about the 49ers, of course. They have been very banged up. I mean, they've been banged up since what? I don't know. July. This is an injured team. Their starting quarterback is still out. Adrian Martinez, again, is on the game day roster. Because let's see what's going on with Mac Jones. I still am confused, Matt. I never looked up exactly what went wrong with his knee. Was it the brace, was doing something strange on that Thursday night win over the Rams? By the way, that's the last time that they played. The last time the 49ers played was that Rams game, which seems like it was forever ago.
That was insane. By the way, I picked Mac Jones as under on that game on his passing yards, and he was 4 yards under when he got hurt. And
so you were feeling gold. You were like, look at this.
I was like, what do I do? Do I cheer? Do I not cheer? This is kind of
wow,
weird.
rooting for
Dude,
injuries.
I would have had $130 in my pocket. Like it would. It was
Oh
a
man,
great
Vegas,
parlay.
baby. That would have been nice for Vegas.
That's gonna be the bit now. Just every
Yeah,
time
every
I do
bit of money. It's
Vegas, baby.
Yeah.
I think that Kyle Shanahan is doing his best coaching job maybe in his career right now. It's absolutely incredible. Just everything that they've had to coach around and everything they've had to go through, and somehow, some way, he's taken this guy that was essentially out of the league and he's made him look like the quarterback that is supposed to be starting for this team. And they've just found ways to win games, whether it be ugly, whether it be pretty. Like, it really doesn't matter.
Mostly
like,
ugly.
Yeah, and like Fred Warner, like, we'll never give the MVP to a defensive player, but like Fred Warner's incredible. Like, Fred Warner is absolutely insane in football. And he's carrying that defense. And it's a defense that lost their best pass rusher to start the year. And I just think with the 49ers, I'm overly impressed with what they've been able to do. All that being said, the Buccaneers are awesome. That's just kind of it. The Buccaneers.
They very much are, man. They are a really good team. Both of these franchises are really good. You know, the Bucs oddly have had the more consistent success over the last 5 years because they have made the play. Well, they've won the division every year going back to 2020. They've won the Super Bowl. The 49ers, of course, have had some really high peaks. And I know we talked about it a little bit last week, and then I talked about it with Schaefer on National Fun League, which is available on Tuesday mornings on the IID Club YouTube channel. And I am very much staking my claim in the Kyle Shanahan is underrated by normal NFL fans. I put that flag down, and he said, first of all, Schaefer said, you're not a normal NFL fan. You talk about the NFL all the time. And I said, okay, fair. But like, I think that this dude is underrated as hell. People don't like him for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe it's his dumb hats.
I think it's just the choking in the playoffs.
That's fair. They have done that, but he is a great coach, and what he has done with this year's team is ultra impressive. A couple of notes for you with this one. So both teams 4-1, and the 49ers, each of their games have been decided by 5 points or fewer. It's the same story for the Bucs. They have 4 victories by 3 points or fewer in the 5 games. The lone loss was the one where things got away from them versus Philadelphia in the first half. They made an effort to come back in the second half, but they had a decision where they could have kicked it, and they decided not to. They went for it. The drive ended on downs, and they just didn't have enough in the back half of the game. So these two teams, I mean, I like the Bucs today. I was going to say because they're more healthy, but they're really not. I mean, they're still down Godwin and Evans.
Yes.
Is Bucky Irving back today?
I don't think he is. I don't think
he's back. And so,
but Rachaad White looked great.
Yeah, and hey, Emeka Egbuka, it's time for you to show out once again. Like,
oh my God.
I keep my new bit with him is he is the top blank receiver in the NFL. Fill in whatever number you want to put in there, man, because that number gets lower and lower each and every week.
It's crazy to me that like he's a rookie. He's
awesome.
We get with this. Like, rookies typically go on this path where you get really, really excited about them, and then they're good, but they're not as good as you think they're going to be. And then at the end of the year, they end up, you're like, holy crap, like, this guy's going to be in the league. He has come out, and he's just been incredible to start, and then he's gotten better and better, and you're like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, this guy could, at the end of the year, end up being top 10, top 5, and then, like, he's going into year 2, and you're already being like, oh, he's a first-round draft pick in fantasy football.
Yeah,
here's
absolutely
wild.
Yeah, and by the way, Fantasy Football Talk on podcast is bad, so we're not going to do it for more than 2 seconds. But he was mentioned on something that I had been listening to over the summer, and I filed that away, and I got him on my team, and God, I feel really cool having him on my team. It's awesome. Here's his numbers, by the way. 6 for 67 in the first game of his career, 2 touchdowns. 7 for 29, touchdown against the Texans. And then 8 for 85. 10 for 101 and a touchdown against the Eagles, 7 for 163 and a touchdown last week. He is averaging in the last 2 games 25.3 and 23.3 yards per catch, 17.8 yards per reception on the year, Matt, and he has 5 touchdowns.
It's crazy.
What are we doing?
Crazy. And it's incredible too because they were. I read the training camp notes because I'm a sicko. And all of the training camp notes were like, this guy's awesome. This guy's great. I'm like, what are they? Like, they're just trying to, like, will something into existence here. Nope. Now, I have a quick question for you before we move on. Do you sorry. Do you get the feeling that I don't want to say us, and I don't want to say the fans, but maybe like the national media are just waiting to kind of hand Baker this MVP.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely in front of the narrative award with this. Because, like,
Yes.
Josh Allen would have to put up, I mean, he's already lost, and, like, he's looked good, but he hasn't looked, like, runaway
Incredible.
train MVP.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, it's not going to be him. Lamar's, obviously not going to win it. Patrick Mahomes has won it too many times. You're right, man. Like, Baker is, I think people really like his story. I think they really like his story. And he is playing the best football of his career. And an MVP this year, Matt, narrative-wise, would be kind of a culmination of this Bucs era for him, where it's like, whoa, Baker. And then last year it was, he's still doing it. Well, now he loses another OC, and then maybe they're the best team in the NFC, or second or third.
Keep rolling it down the hill. Keep rolling it
what are his odds? I feel like I should go make that bet.
Because here's
they're probably bad.
They're not going to give it to Sam Darnold. They're not going to give it to Daniel Jones. They're not going to give it to these guys because the media at the end of the day were completely this is just a fact. They were completely out on D Jones and they're completely out on Sam Darnold. And for years they told you how bad they were. And then they ended up being great. I don't think they're going to want to admit that they were fully wrong and give him an MVP. And I think it would be a very this is a weird, Baker in a way.
Year.
Baker in a way has been playing well over the last couple of years where it makes sense. He's been building up toward having this. But the problem is that he's had a really, really good year. He hasn't had the MVP year yet. The Bucs have been very, I don't want to say reliant, but have benefited greatly over an incredible run game, right? And a really, really good defense. So this, I think Baker, if he needs to do in terms of having great games, he needs to have the least amount of great games out of anyone else.
Because people want to give it to him.
Because people want to give it to him. And by the way, I'm totally fine with that. I love Baker Mayfield. I think he's awesome.
He's awesome. He has third best odds right now on FanDuel. Josh Allen leads the way plus 135. Mahomes plus 470. Then Baker at 7-1. By the way, Dak.
I think that'd be a great bet. I think.
Dude,
Dak,
I know. I honestly, I might drive over into Iowa tomorrow. Dak 17-1 right now.
Ooh,
sprinkle.
Hey, you know what?
Do a little sprinkle.
I think you need to place that. If Baker has a big game against San Francisco, I think that
Feeling
might
pretty good.
slash in half. I think it might go
all right
3.5 to 1.
So, well, I'm guessing I know what Matt's going to do after the pod. He's going to drive on over into Iowa and make a couple of wagers, and then come on back and watch some football.
Yes, that's what I do every Sunday. Which we had a bad day yesterday with the.
Corey, by the way, points out your favorite game right now, a game overseas. The Jets, 32 yards in the first half this morning. He adds, LOL, they are big bad. They are indeed. I'm seeing a couple tweets. It seems like Aaron Glenn did some dumb shit at the end of the first half. I'm reading 2 tweets for you from Robert Mays, Matt, before we get on to the next game. You had 4th and 1 from our own 36 with 1:40 left and 3 timeouts, which handled normally seems like a situation where you could try to score some points. I don't know. Running a fake punt from the minus 36 in order to prevent the other team from getting the ball back, is an all-time play not to lose moment. Dude, Aaron Glenn, I think people were really excited for him. I think he might be a one-and-done coach.
I think he is.
I'm starting to think that. And then maybe the Cowboys could hire him and fire Eberflus. Let's go, baby. Bring him home. That's not home, but bring him.
That was going to be terrible.
I think you said that last week. I
mean, he was awful as play caller to end the season with the Bears. And by the way, Matt Eberflus, first coach. I don't think enough people talk about this. He's the first coach ever in Chicago Bears history, the charter franchise of the NFL,
to get fired in season.
Yes, to get fired in season. Do you know how fucking bad you have to be for?
Hey, at least you were doing the shows and producing shit, so you didn't have to watch that garbage. Am I right?
That's all we talked about for weeks.
Weeks. And it's the 1-year anniversary, isn't it, of the Hail Mary? Like, we're approaching that, or we are.
We'll talk about it later.
We will, because it's the same team. All right, so that's Niners and Bucks. Sunday night, a potential banger. Chiefs. If they lose, they are 2-4. If they win, they are 3-3. If they tie, which is on the table apparently, they're 2-3-1. Lions. I mean, look, I think you and I have been saying this on the pod for a few weeks. Like, they're the best team in the NFL. You want to really stake your claim to that? I mean, I guess if the Bucks win today, they're going to be 5-1. Jacksonville, they'll be 5-1. Colts, they beat. Oh shit, we missed that game, didn't we? Colts win.
We can get back to it. It's fine.
They would be 5-1. But if the Lions win, they are 5-1, and they would have 5 straight wins, and it would be winning over a Chiefs team that it does feel like their backs are against the wall, and so you think they're going to have a little bit of extra oomph for this football game. We saw them go into this spot a couple of years ago for the opener they won. I had this stat on the Grum the other day. Jared Goff, only quarterback who Mahomes has started against multiple times and is not beaten, because he lost to him when he was with the Rams, and then he lost to him a couple years ago when he was with the Lions.
That was the Kadarius Toney game.
I like the Lions a lot in this spot. I think they're the best team in football, and I think that they will show that tonight versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it's time for me to admit that my Lions take was rooted in hatred and not rooted in like actual partial football knowledge.
That's a way to grow up. That's a good job by you.
I thought that them losing coordinators would be a massive detriment. Apparently, they just have a fucking factory there where they just have incredibly smart humans. Dan Campbell, credit to him. The guy knows how to hire, right? Like he just clearly he is just proven. He just knows how to hire analysts,
great coach,
and coaches, and assistant coaches and coordinators and stuff. So Sampson has done an incredible job on the defensive end. I don't know their OC's name off the top of my head, but it's if you remove the Packers game, so if you just get rid of the Packers game, they're averaging 40 points a game. They've scored 161 points in 4 games. Okay, they are absolutely insane on the offensive end. I thought that them losing what they lost in the offensive line would be a massive detriment to them. They're now using Jahmyr Gibbs in extension of run game plays, and it's really, really impressive. And then David Montgomery touches the ball 13 times a game and is averaging like 6 yards a carry. So I don't know what you can say about Jared Goff other than he has just completely rewritten the narrative in his entire career. In the last couple of years has consistently been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So the Lions are really good. I was encouraged with what I saw from Kansas City. Here's a Kansas City take that you can mull over. Okay. I think that the last couple of years, Kansas City, if you just remove the quarterback and you remove the coach, Kansas City wasn't as talented as the other teams that they were beating.
Correct.
But their coach and their quarterback were just so good that they can just they could drag the team over the finish line and win these close games. And when it came to KC, I just never really believed in the whole regression by the numbers thing. Like, I just thought that this is how the team is built. They're just built to win close games, and it's because the team is here, and then Mahomes and Reed just carry them over, and they win those close contests. I think that it's just kind of clear that Travis Kelce's gotten older, Chris Jones has gotten older. You know, these linebackers, Karlaftis and Chenault, like, they just haven't played as well either. Like the team just simply is not as good around Mahomes, just overall from what it's been the last couple of years. And the drag over that Reed and Mahomes used to be able to do, it's just too much weight for them now because it's just the rest of the team.
Margin for error is so much slimmer.
It's so much slimmer. So I think Pat is playing great. Pat statistically is playing some of the best football he's had over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Well, did you see the stat? Mina Kimes had this. Their success rate the other day on Monday was their best on offense in like couple of seasons.
Yeah.
You know, and it was the best, I think, by an offense all year this year, and yet they still lost. And I think that maybe explains it. Like, the offense looked good again, and yet they're missing on some of the explosives. The turnover, the turnover at the goal line was awful. You know, that was a spot where they could have gone up by 7 and really, taken hold of the game, and they turned the ball over, and they even get a late lead, but the Jags are able to go down the field and make some plays. And so you're right. Like, they just don't have the guys that they did, and like that's shown itself. And eventually, I was a believer in regression to the mean in terms of all these one-score wins. Just like I thought the same thing would happen with Nebraska football, and it has. It's finally reversed. And I think the same thing has happened for the Chiefs. By the way, you mentioned you don't know who the OC is of the Lions. Corey, who is our resident Lions fan in the chat. John Morton is the offensive coordinator.
John Morton
for the Detroit Lions.
Incredible at his job, and probably will be up again for some sort of head coaching carousel. Not get the job. He'll come back to Detroit. He'll be awesome again. Then he'll get hired by a team.
Yeah, and I really liked him in this spot today.
It's just like Josh, like the Chiefs, man, like you can kind of go down the list in your head of like defensive players that you were like, oh my God, they're great. You can hang their hat on. And they were super talented on that defensive side of the ball. It's just like when they played the Chargers in week 1, I was like, man, they don't have pass rush. And that's really concerning. And they kind of still don't. And it's just, they don't have those guys in the secondary that were as locked down as like they were in the past. It's just like, I don't think it's regression to the mean as much as it is. It's just they're just not as talented as they once were on the defensive end, and that was kind of the identity. Like their defense was awesome, and then Mahomes in the offense just managed the game perfectly where they could win. It's no longer the case.
Correct. The offense is better, but the defense is worse, and it seems like the defense being worse is outweighing the offense being better at this moment in time.
Thank you for summing up my point.
Let's go back to the a Sunday noon game that we missed, and that was Cardinals at the Colts. Colts could move to 5-1 on the season. Cardinals, Matt, of course, they have that terrible loss last week. A lot of drama this week. Jonathan Gannon gets fined, $100,000 by his franchise, not by the NFL, by his franchise. Of course, with the fumble at the goal line last week, it was they would have gone up by 22 points. They end up losing. The Titans' first win of the year. Cardinals, Matt, not allowed a 100-yard rushing performance this season. Jonathan Taylor has been the best back in the NFL, not named Javonte Williams, and he is averaging 96 yards per game on the ground. Again, I said what I did earlier about the Colts. I know that I'm going to take an L on this. I'm just kind of trying to figure out how big of an L I want to take overall on the Colts. Do I want to say that they're good but not great, and then they go on to win the Super Bowl? Do I want to say that they are average, and then they go on to win the division?
Sure.
I have no idea what I want to do with them. It's a spot, though, where I love the rushing defense versus offense thing because it's like that's the strength, I think, that is if the Colts are going to have success, I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be a big reason why. Man, you run well on this defense today, and it's just like, holy shit, all right, this is what you are moving forward.
So, real quick, because I think I'm an expert on this, I think the R.A.D. Mercado fumble is like basically the Cardinals version of the Tyreek Stevenson play last year for the Bears, where that play happened, and the Bears just were never the same after that.
Sent him in a tailspin, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the same thing. Like, you cannot lose that game. You cannot lose that game to the Titans. And
the Titans!
Here's their upcoming schedule, though, Josh, okay? Including their game today. They play the Colts, then the Packers, then they have a bye week, and then they play the Cowboys, Seahawks, 49ers, Jaguars, Buccaneers, Rams.
Whoa, that really could be the start of a god-awful stretch of football for them.
That is a terrible draw. Like, all of those teams I just named are, like, in contention to make the Super Bowl. That's not a joke. That's not a joke. The Colts could do it. The Packers could do it. Not the Cowboys. Seahawks, 49ers, Jaguars, Buccaneers, Rams. Like, that is like the creme de la creme to begin
And the Cowboys.
Season. And they lost, yes, and the Cowboys. But the Cowboys are frisky. The Cowboys are fun. But, like, this is – you can't lose that game to the Titans. You just cannot lose that game.
I know.
And then part of me doesn't really blame Jonathan Gannon for
punching him.
Here's why.
Punch.
Here's why. No, I'm not pro punch.
Woody Hayes got a raw deal too.
He's absolutely in the wrong for doing it, but I understand like the emotions that overcame him because they need to win that game. And R.A.D. Mercado doing such a stupid thing is going to cost him his job. It will cost. It might end up costing him his career. Like end up costing him being a head coach in the NFL. Because if you just do what you've been taught to do in Pop Warner football, right? And you cross the goal, like you win that game, you're 3-2, and like we're not talking about this. We're just talking about okay, you need to like go 500 during this really tough stretch, and like.
And now, it's a game that you should have won that you lost, and it just changes the math on the whole thing.
And now we're talking about you being he's so dumb for hitting him. Like how get in his face and yell at him, but why do you hit him? How are you?
I'm totally fine with like a player should be fine for dropping the ball at the goal line. Like I'm okay for reaming a guy for that, but like Jonathan Gannon didn't help himself. And you said it. I mean, he's going to get fired, and we're going to look back at this moment as the reason why. By the way, Riss points out, hoping we get dueling drop touchdowns at the half-yard line in this game. Don't forget about the Colts. They had something similar happen to them. Now,
with
it was not, in my opinion, it was not as egregious. Like, he was moving the ball around in his hand. I think he was gonna reach over like as a celebration. It wasn't a drop thing, and then he just ended up dropping it. I'm not defending him. He obviously made a stupid decision there. Colts, by the way, are a huge favorite. It's close to 10 points. They're 8.5-point favorites in this game.
This Cardinals team is a mess now, and it's like it's because R.A.D. Mercado dropped the ball and I totally understand with Jonathan Gannon getting super upset, but also like be an adult man. Like how the hell do you don't punch your own player? You don't punch your own guy.
No, absolutely not.
That is so like I don't know what I just did.
And not to keep doing Clayton Adams stuff. Their run game has gotten worse since he went to Dallas. So All right, let's see what. Now I know they also have had injuries, but I just wanted to point that out. So that's the nooner. All right, Matt, time to finish it up. Your game tomorrow night: Bears, Commanders, Monday Night Football. This is the one where Joe and Troy are at because there are 2 games tomorrow. Bills Falcons is kicking off at 6:15. We mentioned a few minutes. I mean, you literally just mentioned it as well. Last year, the Bears season, they were 4-2, correct, going into the Monday night game or the Sunday afternoon game. They are as 4-1. They were 4-1, so they were about to move to 5-1 on the year. Good Lord! And the Hail Mary happens, and it's not just that they lost on a Hail Mary, but that one of your players was talking shit to Commanders fans and not paying attention when the ball was snapped. And that was they were what?
4-2.
So they were going to move to 5-2. That loss sent them on a tailspin where they lost how many games in a row?
They lost
8?
every single game until the end of the year when they beat Green Bay.
So they lost. They lost 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games in a row. It's funny when I go down that list. I have like a bad memory from every single game,
including, as you mentioned, the Thanksgiving loss that resulted in Eberflus getting canned. And now they go back to that same house of horrors where they lost this game a year ago, and a chance to get a little revenge. And Matt, like, the Bears sneaky, like, not being talked about a whole lot right now. They're 2-2. You know, they had the game on Monday night in the opener, and they got off to the nice start, and then they looked like absolute garbage. They scored on, well, let's see. Did you play the Lions next, and you got boat raced in that game, and then you played the Cowboys, and you boat raced the Cowboys, and then you beat the Raiders.
Shit out of the Raiders.
Yeah, and so you've already had your bye. You've already had your off week, so you're only 2-2. The Commanders, meanwhile, have had a really weird start to the year. I feel like I barely watched them. You know, Daniels has been hurt.
In a way,
you know, they've just kind of been they've been on like in the background. Like last week, a nice performance, great second half performance against the Chargers to get in the end, a very comfortable win. And now, like, you know, we spent the early part talking about wins by these teams put them in the upper crust of the AFC and the NFC. Talking about the Seahawks versus Jags game. This, I think, well, first of all, Commanders win. They're like, all right, the NFC East is ours for the taking.
Bang.
But if the Bears win, I think you could talk yourself into them being in the middle class, maybe the top of the middle class of the NFC. I know, yeah. So a lot at stake, I think, tomorrow night between these two teams. A lot at stake.
Nobody talk about it, but the Bears might be good. Nobody say anything.
Don't say a word. Don't put it on the internet.
Don't say a word.
Don't put it on the internet.
Don't you dare say that the Bears are good, but the Bears might be good. Like they should be 3-1. They should be 3-1. They should have closed out that game against Minnesota. That win against the Cowboys looks better and better. They were severely hurt to start the year. Like their entire secondary was out. They were all like, they only have one guy on the injury report, and it's Grady Jarrett. And Grady Jarrett was playing terrible, so I don't really care that Grady Jarrett is on the injury report. Like, Caleb looks better. The bye week actually came at a very good time for him. It's funny that this is the Tyreek Stevenson game, and I'm sure they're going to highlight it on the broadcast tomorrow because it's an incredibly greatly kept secret. Tyreek Stevenson's playing at a Pro Bowl level right now. Like, he's playing like one of the best corners in the league. He's 13th in PFF amongst all corners in grade. I don't think that's doing him justice. I think he had an incredible game against Dallas. I thought he had an incredible game against Oakland. This is just they're playing some good football and they're not shooting themselves in the foot. And you know, Caleb did not play well in the first 3 quarters of that Raiders game, but comes back, leads a game-winning touchdown drive. It built a lot of character. This defense, I mean, Tremaine Edmonds is finally playing like the guy we paid him to play like. I think this is an awful matchup for the Bears. Man, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, like, what a draft pick. What just an acquisition from Washington. He's added another great layer to the offense. I hate playing against Cliff Kingsbury teams. I think he's so dynamic and so creative, and I think he's going to cause a lot of trouble. I think Ben Johnson, you know, I think part of him hates that he has to throw the ball so much, but he's going to have to throw the ball a lot because just the Bears are very inefficient when they run the football. I don't know. I'm not ready. I'm being serious here. This is like take me being a Bears fan out of it.
Okay.
I'm not ready to say that they're like a good team, but they have shown the makings of being a good team. They've also shown the makings of like having some major holes and major problems. And it just really comes down to, can they coach in a way that accentuates how like their good parts, and can they just avoid being exposed in their weaknesses, right?
Yeah, you know what? In a way, you're saying like this is an opportunity, and not just this game, but moving forward to really find out what kind of head coach Ben Johnson is going to be, right? Like where you're emphasizing the real big positives, and you are trying to paint over the negatives like as much as possible.
Can Dennis Allen scheme in a way where, you know, they are going to give up a lot of like yards on the ground, but just don't get gashed. Like don't get into a boat race, because I just don't know if this team yet. They're not built like the Lions in where they can win games.
Few are.
They can't win games 35-30 or 42-35 or anything like that. Like, but now that the secondary's back, can they perform at a higher level? Like now you got Kyler Gordon, you got Jalen Johnson, you got Jaquan Brisker, like you have Tyreek Stevenson. Like that's when all four of those guys are playing their best football. That's a really hard defense to score on. And can just Caleb, if Caleb continues to get better, and Rome Odunze, who's had a sneaky great year, like a very, very sneaky good year to start, if they can kind of continue to build that relationship, I think that the Bears could reach a ceiling that we really didn't expect for them, but just as much the bottom can fall out very quickly. Like I think they are teetering at the point of being credible, and they're teetering on the point of like disaster. Like I just think it's a flawed roster.
Of course it is. Yeah.
It's flawed.
Well, now it's going to be interesting too to see how do they come off the idle week.
The bye,
you know? Like how do they come off of the week off, you know, in the early part of a coaching regime and an early part of a coaching era.
And I think it's just being a fan of this team. I think this should mean a little bit more. Like I don't really fully know what to make. Like I cannot confidently tell you that they're good at football. I'm not going to tell you though that they're bad. Like they look good against the Cowboys, and they pulled off a gutsy win against the Raiders. And
you jumped really high into the sky during that.
I did because it's like they don't win games like that all the time. Like in my lifetime, man, like the Raiders end up hitting that field goal, or the Raiders just missed that field goal, and you're like, you don't feel good about it because you're like, most good teams would have made that field goal. The fact they blocked the kick and they made that play, right? Like was a big deal for me. So I'm glad that it's a watchable product. But at the same time, we entered this Washington game last season saying some of the same things. And you saw what happened after that. So I think Washington, though, is really good. And if they can go on the road and beat them in prime time, it'll be I don't expect them to win. But if they
do, you're going to be feeling really good.
Dude, no, if they win that game, like now I'm like, we're officially flirting with like, all right, there are some expectations on the season now.
You win this one, you know who you have next? You got the Saints, you got the shitty Ravens, you got the shitty Bengals, you have the frisky Giants.
I mean, it's
Vikings, Steelers.
It breaks well for them. And like,
oh boy,
we're at the point, Josh, and you will understand this. If they beat Washington tomorrow, I'm now going to start looking at the NFC. Like,
I love it
as a whole.
Yep.
And being like, all right, where do we fit?
Yep.
I'm not ready to do that. I haven't done that in 7 years. All right. I have not looked at an NFC standings being like, okay, like where do the Bears come in at? And like where I'll start looking at other team schedules and start doing the math. I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do that. But it would be this team's biggest win in quite some time. I would say that it would probably be the team's biggest win since they beat the Rams in 2018 on primetime.
Wow, really? Even more than any of the wins because you made the playoffs in the COVID year, right? So even more than any of the wins
But they beat a crappy Jacksonville team, a crappy Houston team, and a crappy Detroit team on the way. Like they that COVID year was, everyone knew after they started like 5-1 that it was a fugazi. And then that was the game. That was the year where Tom Brady like forgot that. Or wait, am I getting my years? I think I might be getting my years mixed up. But anyway, the year that 2019.
I remember the Sunday Night Rams one. That was a huge win because that was the one where it
that was
truly said they have arrived and they can.
2019 was just an overall disappointment. And then 2020 they go on that run where okay, so it's the same year where it's just like you knew they were a paper tiger, but they beat a bunch of crappy teams to make the playoffs, and you were just like, all right, cool, but you're not going to win the Super. Like there was no run coming. 2021 was an absolute lost year, and then we've had crappy years since. It's just like since 2018. This team has just been a ball of disappointment, and it's either been not living up to the expectations or being really, really bad. They go ahead, they beat this Washington team, who they're not matched up well against, on the road, on prime time, off a bye. Like
off a bye,
it'd be confidently their biggest win in 7 years, because then you would, when they beat the Rams on prime time, it was like all right, shit, we have to have a Bears convo. Like, we actually have to sit down.
That I remember because, that was the Rams team that went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was they dominated, too. They dominated that.
Roquan Smith had a pick. Like, Trubisky didn't make a ton of mistakes. Like, they were pretty sure Bradley Sewell had a touchdown in that game. Like, they ran a trick play to, like, a backup tackle. Like, this game, if they beat Washington, it'll be okay. Like, they kind of tripped over themselves in week 1, and if they didn't do that, they'd be 4-1 with some pretty decent victories over teams like the Cowboys. Thank you. The Cowboys victory looks better and better as the weeks go on.
Let's go Cowboys. Make the win even better for Matt today by moving to 3-2-1.
That's as serious as you'll get me, by the way, talking about football.
Like, well, hey, let's see what happens. Like, you show up tomorrow, and I think we're going to be having serious conversations each and every week. As we roll on Before the Witching Hour. Before the Witching Hour. All right. Enjoy the ball, everybody. The Broncos-Jets game is now into the second half. Broncos clinging to a 1-point lead, 10-9. That's what's going on overseas. And enjoy the ball today. Matt and I will be back on next Sunday at 9:30, same time. We'll get you ready for the matchups that we are most excited for in that one. A reminder, over the next few days, Volleyball State recording live for subscribers tonight at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, patreon.com/IED Club. Of course, if you would like to join them for that one. Let's see. Tomorrow, Big Ten Breakdown. Ben Stevens will recap the weekend. And, wow, Indiana goes on the road, gets a huge win. Biggest win in program history, perhaps, for the Indiana Hoosiers over the Oregon Ducks.
I mean, what has Indiana
They made the
done?
Rose Bowl in the 60s, but, this is they beat Purdue in the process, a ranked team, but this is easily, in the modern era, in my lifetime, this is the biggest win the program has ever had, announcing themselves not as just a playoff contender, but as a national championship contender, perhaps. Certainly a Final Four contender at the very least.
They're going to be the second-ranked team in the country.
Yeah, when the polls come out very, very shortly. So Ben's recap of that and all the other games in the Big Ten Conference, that'll be available tomorrow. On Tuesday, we will have a National Fun League. Mike Schaefer and I will recap Week 6 in the NFL, and then more and more pods coming up over the next few days. Football show on Thursday, and then Matt and I, again, back next Sunday for Week 7 of the NFL, which is just a depressing sentence to say, so I'm not going to say it anymore. Matt points out, congrats on getting that muff. Yeah, look at you.
Oh, do you know where this muff is from?
Work.
Yeah. I opened up a cabinet, and I was like, there's a muff nobody's using. And
perfect.
So I opened it up on a Monday, and I was like, okay, if it's still in the same exact spot on a Friday, then I'm going to take it home. And It was in the same exact spot. And I was like, all right, no one uses it, so now it's mine.
I think I want to make a logo for Before the Witching Hour where it's your upside-down koozie. It's the upside-down NFL, and that is involved with our logo somehow. So where is it at? For old time's sake, look at that. God, that is so funny. It makes me laugh every single time.
It's kind of hard to put on.
Yeah, because it's not the correct size for a Yeti microphone. God, that is so freaking good.
But is the quality that much worse with it?
Yes, you can. Your peas are popping a little bit more. All right, enjoy the ball, everybody. This has been Before the Witching Hour. You can check out Matt on Gary and Matt each weekday, 16:20 The Zone from 6 to 10 Central. Also, Matt and I Overreaction on Friday after Nebraska takes on Minnesota. And if you've missed it, Huskers favorites in this one, according to FanDuel. The early line, -4.5. Nebraska, -4.5 on the road. The analytics are going to say to take the Skurs to cover that spread.
Whoa.
What?
They're -4.5?
They're -4.5. Look at that. A little breaking news for McMaster as we finish it up.
I don't know, man. I said last week I would bet on Maryland in a heartbeat. I might bet on Minnesota in a heartbeat. I might actually break my rule and bet on
negative Matt McMaster.
No.
Negative Matt
-4.5
McMaster.
on the road in a place that they haven't won in ever.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But they haven't won at that specific stadium. Ever.
No, they have. They beat them there in 2015.
At Huntington Bank?
Yeah. I mean, the naming rights might have been different, but yeah, same stadium.
Never mind.
Yeah.
But it's been.
You're good.
What was your crazy stat that I stole on my show? It's been, what's the combined record for Nebraska versus Minnesota and Iowa in the last 10 years or something like that?
Oh, they, Nebraska has beat them
twice or something?
So if you go back to 2016, it's like 2 and something. It's terrible.
God.
It's absolutely awful. By the way, how about this from Riss? I'll get you guys some Monolithic beer for Big Red Overreaction next week. Let's freaking go. So we'll do that. We're gonna have Popeyes. Awesome. It's gonna be a lovely night of football reacting, and hopefully not a sad night of reaction.
If Nebraska wins that game, and then it's you and me eating Popeyes, drinking Monolithic beer.
Wow! Can you imagine a better Friday, Matt? I cannot.
Yeah, I mean, I can. I mean, personally,
okay, well,
but
I can't.
It'd be a good.
As a 37-year-old, that's among the best Friday nights that I can imagine these days. So we'll do all
go
that
into
coming up next
debt.
week. There we go. All right. Enjoy the ball, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Before the Witching Hour. Give us a like and subscribe on the way out the door. And don't forget to check out After Nebraska Football if you missed last night's 90-plus minute episode with Jack Mitchell and myself recapping the game. And Jack did a little edging on Nebraska going 11-1 this year as well. So all that and more available right here on the ID Club YouTube channel. For Madam Josh, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the ball.